Hi everyone, this is Dr. Catherine Kelly, and I wanted to talk to you today about not getting Medusa'd by what is going on in the world. And what I mean by Medusa'd is the mythical creature who had all these snakes on her head. Basically, the idea was that if you looked at her, you'd turn to stone and get immobilized. And what I'm hearing through clients this last few, probably 2 to 3, 4 days, especially since the bombing over in Europe, is that people are just sort of stymied and in shock and sort of standing still and getting, really kind of Medusa'd. And what I wanted to mention to you is, and really encourage you to do, is to make sure that you're not getting so mired in what is going on in the world that you don't live your life. Because that seems to be what's happening with folks, is that people are watching what's going on, getting immersed by what's going on. You can't stop watching. And so all you're doing is you're infusing yourself with the news of the world, which is not great news because all we hear on the national news is the not great news. But I think it's really important to make sure you're still living your life, because out of the 7.5 billion people on this planet, these events that are happening, yes, they're horrific. Yes, they're awful. And they are not happening to you. So you cannot do your part in the world if you are so stymied or so in shock or Medusa'd that you can't live your life. So you can't do your part if you're just immobilized. And it's so important. We have to remember that the human condition is all around us. It is affecting us. It's affecting the world. It's affecting people across the world. It's affecting everybody. And we are all experiencing our own form of the human condition. But we have to remember that we are all also here to evolve. And if we aren't evolving beyond the Medusa'd experience, then we're all going to be sitting around looking like Medusa'd, like we've been Medusa'd. We're going to be in shock. And that's not going to work to change yourself. That's not going to work to change the world. So yes, there are awful, awful things happening in the world. I absolutely agree. And I want to give you some tips for how to not get Medusa'd. Number one, I would really limit the amount of time that you're watching the news. Now, for years, what I've done is I've taped the news and then I've watched it later, because a lot of times I get home from work and I'm either making dinner or I'm out for a walk or doing something, because I don't want to really slow myself down until I can. And so about 7:30, I watch the national news and I basically watch the first, 20 seconds of what they're going to speak about. And then I fast forward through the stuff that I don't feel like I need to expose myself to or that I don't have to hear, because really the headline itself is all you need in order to really know what's been going on. So that is one tip, is to really minimize the amount of news that you are watching right now, because watching the same thing over and over again is not going to do you any good. Once you have the headline, that's all you need. So make sure that you are minimizing how much you're watching the news. Now, this has been going on really since the election and since the inauguration. There's a lot of people that are kind of Medusa'd by what's going on in our government. And I would really encourage moving beyond that as well, because if all you're doing is spending time watching what is going on in Washington, then you're not living your own life. You're not basically enriching your life. That is not soul health, because if you think back to my model, which has 10 branches that we have to, as humans, deal with, government is not one of those. Government is not one of those branches. Now, yes, it's affecting all of us, but we cannot get so mired in it that we can't do our part to change it. And so we have to make sure that we are being very conscious of what it is that we're trying to involve ourselves with. So make sure that you're minimizing the amount of news you're watching. Also, make sure that you're filling out your life with other things that are joyful and encouraging and uplifting and nourishing to the soul. Because if you're not, that's going to deplete you even more. So there's no way to fill yourself up if you are being so depleted by everything. So you've got to make sure that you're intentionally putting things in that are joyful and meaningful to you, that have nothing to do with the gunk that is happening in the world right now. And another one is to surround yourself with positive people only, because there are a lot of people that are so obsessed with what's going on in the government that basically there's nothing positive going on in their lives. And so that can be depressing as well. So make sure you are filling out your life. Make sure you are staying conscious and not getting Medusa'd by life, because it's not going to help you move on and evolve. And it's also going to leave you with a whole lot of regret later that makes you feel like you've put your life on pause. And that is, regret, I think, is one of the biggest betrayals to the soul, because that means we're not living our truth. We're not aligned with who we are. So make sure you are living your life, because remember this, the biggest victory to anything going on around us, any tragedy, any difficulty, anything that is very difficult and exhausting for us, the best victory is for us to live beyond it and to rise above it. So no Medusa'd, but go get yourself involved with life otherwise. And I hope that helps you kind of shake free from whatever you might be feeling right now. So hope you have a wonderful day. Keep yourself from getting Medusa'd, and we'll talk soon.